Alright, let's dig into what's heating up around the Boston Celtics. Because even in the so-called dead time of the NBA offseason, there's still plenty to break down, especially when it comes to the Celtics front court situation. And today, all eyes are on a name that might not get fans jumping out of their seats, but one that actually makes a whole lot of sense when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Nic Claxton. Yeah, Nic Claxton. Not exactly a blockbuster name, right? Not the type of guy that's headlining trade deadline specials on ESPN. But when you're in the position the Celtics are in, with their big man depth thinner, then it's been in years, you start realizing that flashy doesn't always mean functional, and right now, the Celtics need functional. They need fit. They need someone who can actually come in and solidify a front court that, if we're being honest, might be one of the weakest in the Eastern Conference. So here's the setup. There are rumors circulating that Boston could be looking into a straight-up trade, Nic Claxton for Anthony Simons. Financially, it works. Claxton's set to make $25 million this season, with 2 more years on his deal totaling $4 to $4 million. That locks him in for the foreseeable future, not just a short-term rental. Simons, on the other hand, is earning a bit more, so Boston would actually save a little over $2 million if they went through with this deal. And with all the financial gymnastics the Celtics are already doing to stay under that dreaded second tax apron, every dollar counts. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't about whether Claxton is a better player than Simons, because on paper, he's not. Simons is the more talented offensive weapon, the flashier scorer, the guy who could drop 25 on any given night if the ball's in his hands. But this isn't about highlight reels. This is about need. And right now, Boston needs a big man who can protect the rim, crash the glass, and do the dirty work. They don't need another shot creator, especially with Tatum, Brown, and the entire backcourt rotation already in place. If you've been paying attention, you know the Celtics are walking into next season with a front court rotation that is, and I say this with no exaggeration, bordering on concerning. We're talking about names like Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta, and Luka Garza. Respect to those guys. But come playoff time, that's not gonna cut it. It's just not. And look, even people outside of Boston are seeing the same thing on the Hoop Collective podcast, which, by the way, has some of the sharpest basketball minds around. The hosts were ranking front courts around the league. And let me tell you, the Celtics didn't come out looking good. Outside of maybe the Charlotte Hornets, Boston was being talked about as the worst front court in the entire Eastern Conference. And when you start comparing, it's hard to argue. Think about it. Philly has Embiid and even Drummond behind him as a solid backup. The Knicks have Mitchell Robinson and now Karl-Anthony Towns. Cleveland's running with Allen and Mobley. The Hawks have Capela and Okongwu. Detroit has Jalen Duren. Milwaukee's pairing Giannis with Miles Turner. Even Toronto has Jakob Poeltl. Chicago's still rolling with Vucevic. And what do the Celtics have right now? No one that scares anybody. So suddenly, Nic Claxton, this athletic, rim running, shot blocking, low usage big, starts to make a whole lot more sense. He's not going to give you 15 a night, but that's not what you need him to do. What you need is someone who can defend the pick and roll, protect the paint, and switch onto guards when necessary. Claxton can do all of that. He's not just a placeholder. He's a real piece. And given how dry next year's free agent market is for centers, this might be one of Boston's few legit chances to shore up the front line before things get desperate. Because here's the reality, if you wait until next summer, who are you hoping to land? Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe Nurkic if you feel like rolling the dice. That's a steep drop-off, and no offense to Nurkic, but unless you've got a Bosnian flag hanging in your room, you're probably not excited about that move. The timing here is critical. If Boston actually believes Simons isn't part of the long-term vision, and again, I don't think this is about disliking Simons, then moving him for someone like Claxton makes sense. Brooklyn, in this case, would get a dynamic offensive guard who brings experience and shot creation to a very young core. The Nets are kind of a mess right now, roster-wise. They've got a bunch of young wings, a few picks, and no real veteran structure. Simons could help stabilize that group. From Brooklyn's point of view, the deal has merit. Now, let's be real, this trade probably wouldn't send Celtics Twitter into a frenzy. No one's throwing a parade over adding Nic Claxton. But in terms of basketball fit, in terms of addressing a glaring hole without breaking the bank, it's honestly one of the most logical moves the Celtics could make this offseason. And that's not something you can say very often about trade proposals floating around in July. What's also worth mentioning here is the broader context of NBA finances. The league is in a weird place. Mid-tier players, guys like Quentin Grimes, Cam Thomas, Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga, they all want upwards of $30 million per season. And the teams holding their rights as restricted free agents are balking. They're offering way less, in some cases less than $20 million, and hoping the market won't back those young guys up. An anonymous executive even said recently, why pay Quentin Grimes $22 million when you can get a guy like Gary Trent Jr. for the veteran minimum? That's the state of things. You're either paying top dollar for stars or getting guys on cheap deals who offer similar production. There's almost no middle class in NBA contracts anymore. And that's why deals like Claxton start to look a little sketchy on the books, even if the player is objectively good. 2 years ago, $20 million per season for a starting center who can defend and switch felt like great value. Now, teams are treating it like a luxury. The landscape is shifting fast. So Boston has to weigh this. Are they okay committing that kind of money to a role player? Or are they better off punting the position and hoping for a bargain down the line? Honestly, I think the Celtics need to act now, because the idea that they're going to find a better, more affordable big man next summer feels naive, and if they go into the season with their current center rotation, it's going to be a problem. Not just against top-tier teams, I'm talking about on random Tuesday nights in Charlotte. It's going to be a problem. Now, I can already hear some people saying, but what about Malik Monk? Isn't he the better value? And look, I get that argument. Malik Monk is another name floating around out there, and if we're talking about pure excitement level, yeah, he probably moves the needle more than Claxton. Monk is electric, one of the best bench scorers in the league. Arguably a top 3 sixth man when healthy. He averaged 17 points a game last season. For rebounds, nearly 6 assists, he plays hard, gets to the line, and he's fearless. In crunch time, the weird part is that Sacramento seems desperate to move him. Like they're actively shopping him, and no one really understands why. It's not like he's been a locker room problem. He's not on a max contract. He's making $18 million, a perfectly reasonable number for a player of his production. So, what gives if the Kings are just trying to shed salary? Maybe the Celtics could swoop in with Simons and get Monk back. It wouldn't be a straight-up swap. You'd probably have to throw in someone like Georges Niang to balance out the money. But it's doable, and the upside is clear. Monk would be an instant spark plug off the bench. A guy who can create his own shot and put pressure on defenses. He's not a perfect fit for Boston's needs, but he's a damn good player. That being said, as intriguing as Monk is, he doesn't solve the core issue. The Celtics don't need more guards. They need size. They need defense. They need someone who can stand in front of Joel Embiid or Giannis Antetokounmpo or even Jared Allen and hold his own. And Monk, for all his talent, isn't that guy. So that brings us back to Claxton. Steady, durable, still getting better. He's not a flashy name, but he's a serious basketball fit. And if Boston is serious about contending in the post-Tatum injury era and building something sustainable for the next 3 to 5 years, this might be the kind of move they have to make. Not the kind that lights up social media, not the kind that sells jerseys, but the kind that helps you win basketball games in May and June. And if it means giving up Simons, so be it, because no matter how much offensive punch Simons might bring, he's not solving the Celtics' biggest problem, not even close. All right, now that we've unpacked the Nick Claxton situation and how it might actually be one of the smartest, albeit least exciting, moves the Celtics could make right now, let's shift the lens just a bit and look at the broader picture of what Boston's front office is dealing with. Because this isn't just about Claxton or Simons or Monk. This is about navigating a changing NBA landscape where financial flexibility is just as important as basketball IQ. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. A massive buzz is sweeping through the NBA rumor mill as whispers intensify about an intriguing prospect potentially landing in Boston. The latest chatter suggests that Kai Sotto, the towering 7'1" Filipino giant, might be on the verge of joining the Boston Celtics, according to sources close to the matter. Sotto has reportedly arrived in Boston, sparking excitement and speculation about the possibility of him signing with the storied franchise. This move, if it materializes, could bring a fresh wave of energy to the Celtics and a new hope for dominance on the boards. At the TD Garden, standing at an imposing 1 meters, SOTTO's physical presence alone is enough to stir the imaginations of Celtics fans hungry for a rebounder who can challenge the best in the league. Known for his combination of size, agility, and skill, SOTTO has been closely monitored by scouts and analysts worldwide, especially after his impressive performances in various developmental leagues and international competitions. The prospect of him stepping into the NBA stage with the Celtics hints at a strategic move by Boston to bolster their front court and address their rebounding needs. While the Celtics have historically been a team that values versatility and team dynamics, adding a player like SOTTO would certainly alter the complexion of their lineup. His height and reach could translate into an edge in defensive rebounds and second chance points to critical factors in the Celtics' pursuit of another championship. The rumors suggest that the Celtics see in SOTTO not just a player, but a long-term investment, someone who could grow within the system and eventually become a key pillar of their interior defense and paint presence. The buzz also speaks to the broader trend of the NBA embracing global talent, and SOTTO's potential arrival in Boston is emblematic of that movement. Hailing from the Philippines, a country passionate about basketball but historically underrepresented in the NBA, SOTTO's breakthrough could inspire a wave of enthusiasm among international fans. This possible signing would not only enhance the Celtics roster, but also expand the franchise's global footprint, creating new opportunities for fan engagement and market growth. As the rumor mills turn, insiders hint that SOTTO's arrival in Boston is part of an advanced negotiation phase. The Celtics appear keen on securing the young center, banking on his potential to develop into a formidable force inside the paint. Though nothing has been officially confirmed, the excitement surrounding his presence in the city and the whispers of a deal being near completion have already ignited conversations among analysts and supporters alike. However, some questions linger in the air. Will SOTTO be ready to make an immediate impact in the NBA? Or will he need time to adjust and refine his game? How will he fit into the Celtics system under the watchful eye of their coaching staff? And importantly, what role will he play alongside established stars in the roster? These uncertainties only add to the intrigue and anticipation as fans await official news that could signal a new chapter in Boston Celtics history. In the meantime, the Celtics faithful can only speculate and hope that this 1 meter giant might be the answer to their rebounding prayers at the TD Garden. If the rumors hold true, SOTTO could be the next big thing to energize a team known for its championship pedigree, bringing a unique blend of size, skill, and international flair to one of the NBA's most storied franchises. The coming days and weeks promise to be pivotal, as Boston appears poised to make a move that could resonate far beyond the hardwood courts. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.